Hi, everyone. Welcome back to RPC5, Real People Confidential, where we just dive into stories about real people. You know, we run the gamut. We've talked to billionaires. We've talked to homeless people. We've talked, it just runs the gamut here. And the whole idea is to really bring everything down to earth, and we're supporting one another with real stories and real advice. And today I'm blessed to have a gentleman who, with an open heart, wants to share his story about a mental health issue that perhaps you've heard of, perhaps you haven't, but it has affected a number of people's lives, and he wants to share his story and a little bit of his journey about depersonalization. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I'm so interested to learn more about your journey with depersonalization, how it has impacted you, and what advice you have for others who may be experiencing similar struggles. So again, I'm delighted that you're here to share. Can you tell us a little bit about depersonalization, how everything started for you, what it is, and how you deal with it?
Absolutely. So 2013 was when I had my first ever panic attack in life. And it actually, a mini one started while I was running one night. It didn't really manifest into anything big. It was actually the second night after that when I was walking my dog when I had a full-blown panic attack. I never came across a panic attack before, and I would find myself in the emergency room after that. And then I would find myself in the emergency room again a couple of days later for the second time. And then the third time, within a week or two, I would find myself in the emergency room, which would make 3 times total. And basically from dealing with panic attacks that would roll into breathing issues, that rolled into depression, and excuse me, all of a sudden I started feeling this disconnect in life. And I remember always calling it some sort of delirium. I don't know where that word came from, but it was just like, I just feel like this weird delirium space is going on. And it really wasn't until many months later, after leaving Maryland, which is where I was in 2013, to Atlanta to live with my mother, because I was just struggling and suffering way too much. It was only then when I started just trying to understand what these symptoms are and where they come from that I came across the words depersonalization and also derealization, for that matter. Depersonalization for me was basically feeling like I had no identity. And it wasn't just about identity as it relates to the different characteristics of what makes us who we are, wrapped around ego, wrapped around material things. It was like I didn't feel my body like I could literally be walking. And as I'm walking, I don't think it's me walking. I don't think it's me taking these steps. If I was just kind of sitting there moving my hand around, I don't think that's my hand. I can stand in the mirror and I'm like, I don't recognize this face. And it sounds weird, but it's like this face isn't mine. I don't understand that I can't connect to it for some odd reason. And it was extremely traumatic. It was very uncomfortable. It also just continued to regurgitate, for lack of words, the panic attacks because you don't know what's going on. You don't understand where this new sense of non-reality and non-identity comes from. So that's what depersonalization was for me. That's what it. I still relate to it from the symptom point of view. That's what it is for me. It's just feeling like your body's not your body. Also, this perspective of feeling like you're an alien or something is possessing you, and you're not possessing yourself anymore. The you that you always were is gone. It's depleted. You are something else now. So you and in addition to that, you feel like a walking spirit. You know.
This is fascinating to me. What did the depersonalization do to your relationships? Because, I mean, literally, it sounds like an out-of-body experience, like literally
yes.
an out-of-body experience.
Yes, it is. What it did to my relationships in general, isolation, because you don't really know how to express these things to anybody without sounding just super crazy and insane. I was so fearful of being put into the psych ward. I faced the same stigmas many or most people face that deal with these mental conditions, just thinking that somebody's going to basically put you into a straitjacket or something like that, or basically put you in some type of, mental ward or drug you up with all these different drugs, and you don't even feel yourself anymore, and you're basically dead to life. So it definitely complicated things as far as me wanting to isolate myself and feel like I had to figure a lot out on my own. So I was very distant, and people could not understand why I wasn't the same me that I used to be, and why I was so out of it. So it caused a break in a lot of relationships, and then there was always maybe one or two people that stuck around that were able to enforce that everything is going to be okay, and I was thankful that I had those one or two people also.
Let me, and thank God for those people. Let me ask you this: you're thriving today. How did you turn that corner, and what advice do you have for anyone else who may be struggling with depersonalization or in someone's life who's struggling with it?
So this is always one of my favorite parts to talk about as far as my journey and evolution is concerned. For me, when I'm introspective and reflective on things, it seems that some things centered around a loss of identity. I had been in a career for 12 years, and I was let go in 2012, and I was without this career for 2 years. So that was the unemployment aspect. Validation, basically understanding that who I wasn't really me in the first place. So there was this rebuilding. And the spiritual aspect of just connecting to something that was much greater than I was. And I always remember this one day in February, the night before I went to this Grammy party. If I'm correct, I think this was 2014 in February. And the next day I remember waking up just feeling this cloud of darkness. Like I just remember opening my eyes and just like feeling like I was just looking at some entity that was just trying to take me down, like I was calling it this gravitational pull, just sucking my soul, and I jumped out the bed and I got on the floor and I kind of stretched a little bit, and something told me, this is where nobody could really tell me what would proceed to happen next. Something told me, let's go for a walk. And
what?
I go and get in my vehicle and I go to this park that is around the corner, a few blocks from my mother's home, to this park and this trail. And I start walking this trail, and I usually used to do this thing where I would kind of talk in my mind with myself, with God, and I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. And I'm talking with God, and it's like I'm trying to control the situation, and something told me to just shut up. And I was like, okay. And I kid you not, I started walking that trail, and that was the first time in maybe 10 months that I started observing everything that was around me, the leaf on the ground, the veins in the leaf, the way the concrete looked on the trail, the colors of the leaves, the shape of stems and tree branches, and how it combined and, mixed with the sky. Like, I just started noticing these things. And for me, that was God telling me, I need you to be present, because what you're going through, you will not figure it out on your own at all.
Okay.
I'm gonna work this stuff out in the backdrop, behind the scenes. And while I'm doing what I'm doing, all I need you to do is learn how to have an intimate relationship with the present moment. And for me, that was nature. And from that point on, little by little, it wasn't overnight, little by little, over the next maybe 10 more months, I would be consistent, because that's one thing I preach. I'm very consistent with being present moment, with grounding and centering.
Okay.
Grounding and centering for me is walking on trails.
Awesome.
Exercising. I'm a skateboarder. I'm 39 years old. I'm a skateboarder. When you skateboard, you have no choice but to be in the present moment, or you're going to fall and possibly break something or kill yourself. So exercising, diet, hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies, whether it's painting, photography, walking dogs, stretching, touching myself helps me to deal with the depersonalization, helps me to build myself. And in addition to that, at some point in time, I came to the conclusion that, you know what, if I am possessed, I tend to be full of a lot of love and a lot of helping others. So therefore, I'm okay with this. And that was part of the journey too, was embracing it. I finally was able to say, you know what, I think I can live my life with this, alongside this. I still feel like I can socialize with people. I still feel like I can exist and contribute to society or to communities, and that I have something to offer as far as purpose.
I love it. I absolutely, you took us very far inside your story, and I love how the hand of God, and as you know, I'm a very spiritual person. I love how the hand of God, as only God can, literally took you on a little walk, and this is what I'm going to need you to do. And what's more beautiful is you were open to it. And I feel very strongly that what you shared is going to refresh and revive so many people. And I thank you for it. And I hope that we can talk again, because I want to have an extended conversation. If you don't mind, I'd like you to come back, and I want to talk about that walk. And although it was just a space and time, I would like to talk to you about how you listened, how you really heard the call. And that really started the ball moving with your healing, if that's okay with you.
For you, anytime.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.